What is going on, everyone? David from the Geeky Parents here. And as you can tell by the screen and by the title, today we are doing a draft analysis for the Amateur Battle League, or ABL for short, Minors, Season 1. I am very excited about this, especially those of you who know I have an extensive history with ABL, being runner-up in Season 1 and the champion of Season 2, and having taken a break for Season 3. The Atlanta Starmies are back. Ready to go, ready to do some damage with this team that we drafted, and I can't wait to show you guys in just a minute. You may be asking yourselves, what's the difference between Minors and the main season, which is now finishing up Season 3 as I'm recording this? Well, Minors does not require an upload, although I will still be uploading, as will many other coaches, who I will link in the description below. Also, at least for this first season, there aren't any prizes. That may change in the future depending on the success of this season. So I hope you guys are excited, and I hope you will follow and subscribe to all the other coaches' Twitters and YouTubes and Twitches. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So, I was 5th pick overall, which isn't bad. Right in the middle, there were 12 coaches. So, let's start this off. My first pick, G-Max Lapras, or just plain old Lapras, whatever you want to call it, but Lapras is my Gigantamax captain, with a whopping base 130 HP. It's got pretty decent. It could be either special attacker or physical attacker. They're both tied at 85 base. And for those of you who know or have played doubles, you know how prominent Gigantamax Lapras is in that with its G-Max Resonance. It sets up the Aurora Veil, reduces any damage right off the get-go. It's just a massive support, massive tank. And I think this thing is really going to do some damage with the rest of the team we have drafted, such as Dragapult. Yes, your boy got Dragapult. I don't know what to say about this. This is just such a great grab at the S tier. It's got 142 base speed, 100 base special attack. Its base physical attack is 120, which is a little higher than a special attack, but its physical attack move pool isn't as good. So I feel like personally it's a better special attacker, especially if you put something like Weakness Policy or Life Orb on it. That thing will do some mad damage, and I cannot wait to pair it up with Lapras and see what I can do with this team. But on to the next pick, Milotic. You may be asking yourself, oh, you drafted 2 water mons, but I just could not pass up Milotic. It is such a tank. Especially with the competitive ability, base 100 special attack, base 125 special defense. It is just a monster. It can just eat up the damage, and it could also learn moves like Life Dew. Sorry, it escaped me for a minute. Life Dew, which will heal itself and its ally, which is great for doubles. You really want to have that. So at this point in the draft, I'm looking at my team. I'm like, okay, I kind of see what I need, and good things were flying left and right. Like for my first pick, Lapras, it was between that and Kyurem Black, and ultimately I went with Lapras. Although some people might say, why didn't you go Kyurem Black? You know, you probably would have been better off going Kyurem Black. I don't know. It's something about Gigantamax Lapras. I was like, let me just grab this because I know if I don't grab it now, it won't make it back to me. It won't. But this, you could say the same thing about Kyurem Black, and it didn't. It did not make it back. So on to our next pick here. Arcanine, yes. So Arcanine, I was super happy. I was actually talking with one of the staff members, Perk Hayes, and he was kind of like asking me, oh, hey, you know, I'm looking at your draft real quick. What's your kind of what's your thought process? And I'm like, look, I know it seems odd, especially having 2 water types so early on, but if I can snag Arcanine here, I feel like I'll be sitting pretty. I'll be pretty happy. So I did. I snagged Arcanine. I had my fingers crossed the whole time. I was super happy to get it. It's got the Intimidate ability, or you can run Justified or Flash Fire on it. Intimidate's just so good. Comes out immediately, lowers the physical attack. But Justified's also good because we do have a beat up user in Dragapult. So I could just lower Dragapult's attack to nothing, use beat up on Arcanine, and Justified will kick in, and Arcanine will just be a monster. With his base 110 attack, base 100 special attack, you can really run it as either. It can be mixed. Base 95 speed actually puts it at a decent speed tier. So you could also run like Sunny Day on this thing if you really needed the harsh sunlight. But I feel like Arcanine is just a fantastic addition to this team. And on to the next one, Gardevoir. Now, I feel like Gardevoir is not a bad mon, being a Psychic Fairy type. I'm surprised it wasn't grabbed yet. I've personally never used a Gardevoir in a draft league. So, I was like, you know, I need a Fairy, I need a Psychic, why not just grab it and knock out both? Kill two birds with one stone, as they say. It can have the Synchronize ability, so if you burn, paralyze, any kind of status condition on Gardevoir will be reciprocated onto the opponent, which is nice to have. Or you can have Trace, so when it comes out, it'll take one of the abilities of one of the mons on the field, which could also be very interesting. Gardevoir does have a base 125 special attack and base 115 special defense, making it kind of specially bulky, especially if you just decided to run like an assault vest on it or something. But its base defense is only 65, so it's actually pretty frail on the physical side. With the base 80 speed, that's so-so. It's not terrible. The next one's Excelgor. Some people may scratch your head, but I say don't sleep on Excelgor. Do not sleep on Excelgor. If you have the Unburden ability on it, you run something like Throat Spray, Bug Buzz. Bug Buzz will use up the Throat Spray, it'll raise your special attack, Unburden will kick in, and Excelgor will end up outspeeding anything that's on the field. Especially with his base 145 speed, it's already fast. I believe I was using it in another draft league. I believe what the calculation was, it was fully invested in speed. I had Unburden, and I believe it hit 834 speed. It was something around that, but it was something like it's just insane. An insane amount of speed. And he's got a pretty decent special attack at 100. That's nothing to sleep on. But he is very, very frail with base 40 defense and base 60 special defense. So he's not going to take his very well. You could always send him out as like a quick setup. He can learn spikes. He can learn Sludge Bomb, which is pretty interesting. And he can learn Focus Blast, which is a really nice special fighting move. So I feel like Excelgor is just a great addition to have. Can kind of run him how I really want to. I'm trying not to divulge too many plans here, but I feel like Excelgor is really going to mix it up and take some people by surprise. So for our next pick, we went with the free pick. We took another S tier. We took Hawlucha. And I was like, how did this mon last this long? It's one I've never used. It's a unique fighting flying type. It can also have the Unburden ability, so you can run like a berry on it. Once the berry pops, that speed just skyrockets. You can have Mold Breaker on it. You can have Limber, so you don't get paralyzed. It's got a base 118 speed, which is actually really good. Its base attack's 92, which is, that's not too bad. But you can always boost it up with some of its moves. Don't really want to run it as a special attacker, to be honest. The special attack is only set base 74. And it's pretty frail on the special defense side at 63. So, I mean, it's definitely something you want to get in and start just getting off hits quick. Because you don't know how long this thing will last on the field. So I believe now we start the C tiers. As you notice, I don't have a restricted mon yet. And there's a reason I did that, because restricted mons just like were flying off in the first couple rounds of draft. I was like, there's one specific mod I have my eye on for restricted, and I was just crossing my fingers it would last through the whole draft. So our next pick is Piloswine. Really good. Especially, you see him more frequently now. Pretty good ice ground type. Normally you can run it with thick fat, which is a really good ability. He's got base 100 HP, base 100 attack, base 80 defense, base 60 special defense, which might seem low, but one huge thing about Piloswine is it does have an evolution in Mamoswine, so you can run an Eviolite on it. I know some people pronounce it Eviolite. I pronounce it Eviolite. I don't know, I just do. But that'll skyrocket its defense and special defense. It's just going to be a complete wall. It's going to take hits. Especially with the thick fat ability. So I am so excited to be able to use this mon. I feel like maybe I took it earlier than I should have, but I didn't want to pass up the chance to get a pretty decent ice ground type. Even though I already have an ice type in Lapras, I did need ground. I needed an electric immunity. So our next mon is Eldegoss, which, let's be honest, we're getting down to the seeds here. There's not really going to be that many good mons left. However, I wouldn't sleep on Eldegoss having abilities like Regenerator and Effect Spore. Those are pretty decent. It's actually got a 120 base special defense, which is very surprising. And it's got a base 90 physical defense. So it's actually got some bulk to it. It is very surprising. I did not know that till I just looked. I have it up right here, and I did not know. It is actually, it blows my mind. That's not bad. Although its base special attack is 80, so I mean it's nothing like to write home about. But I'm interested to see what I can do with this thing. I'm not expecting top of the kill board or anything out of this, but deciding to run like Cotton Down ability or Regenerator or Effect Spore, and just kind of playing around with that, kind of keeping my opponents guessing, is what I want to do. So we're starting to wind down here. We've only got 2 picks left, and you guys will not be able to guess what I draft next. Klinklang. Never, ever did I think I would say I drafted Klinklang. I'm going to be honest. I did need a steel type. That played a huge part in it. I wanted to have a steel type. Obviously the plus and minus ability it can have, it's not really going to be helpful here. I don't have anything else drafted right now that could have the plus or minus ability. So more likely than not, it's going to be clear body ability, which is decent. You can't complain about clear body, so his stats won't be lowered. It's actually got a base 100 attack, which is very surprising. That's pretty decent. It's got a base 115 defense, which is also decent. It's got a base 85 special defense. But what's also interesting is that it has a base 90 speed, so it's actually speed tied with Arcanine, I believe. Let me double check that real quick. No, Arcanine's 95. So it's actually really close to Arcanine. But it can learn moves like Autotomize. It can learn... it learns Gear Grind, which it's a physical steel move that'll strike twice with a base 50 power. That's actually pretty interesting. Also has Shift Gear, which raises user's attack by 1 stage and speed by 2 stages, which is actually really good. So if you put something like Focus Sash on it, if you think it's going to get knocked out, activate Shift Gear, raise your attack by 1 stage and speed by 2 stages, you might end up outspeeding the next thing, and then you can just Gear Grind it to death. I think that'd be really, really interesting to do. Again, I don't know too much about Klinklang. I grabbed it because I needed a steel type, but I am super excited to see what I can do with it. And I don't think a lot of other coaches are going to see this thing coming usually, so I can definitely take them by surprise with it. But here we go. Are you guys ready for this restricted mon? I don't think you are. Terrakion. Ooh, man. Alright, so I was eyeing this thing probably about 2 or 3 picks in. I was like, man, it's got a decent typing with rock fighting. At the time I didn't have a rock or a fighting type, and obviously now I have Hawlucha, which I just couldn't pass up. But rock fighting type has got the justified ability, so again, beat 'em up Dragapult onto Terrakion. It's going to just make it nuts. It's got a base 129 attack. It's got a base 108 speed, so it's actually pretty fast. And its defense and special defense are both base 90. So it is nothing to just, you know, neglect. This is gonna be a tough mon to take down. Obviously, there are some scary things in this league, like Duskmane Necrozma, Mewtwo, Kyurem Black. All those mons are very scary. All those mons I considered grabbing, but were gone before my pick. So there's not much I could really do. So that does it for the draft. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. My opponent for week 1 is the Lawtown Lucarios. And their team consists of Kyurem, Colossal, Corviknight, Dracovish, Haxorus, Lucario, Galarian Corsola, Delmise, Arctozolt, Heatmore, and Rapidash. It's a very interesting team. He's got some big threats on there. I do notice he's got two dragons, so that's interesting. It's good that we have a fairy type and an ice type. He has 2 Gigantamax captains though. He's got Colossal and Corviknight. So he used his free pick to grab another Gigantamax. Your free pick could have grabbed anything besides another restricted. So we won't know 100%. He might just end up bringing both and not Gigantamaxing one of them. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to prepare for. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Please do consider liking and subscribing, especially since this league is going to start very soon, within the next week or two. So you will start seeing uploads as soon as the battles start. I'm hoping to do pre-battle analysis and upload them, obviously right after my battle is done. So I hope you guys look forward to that. I'm definitely going to try to be making more content, especially for this league, trying to get back into the groove. I know for seasons 1 and 2, I did all the battles, almost all the battles. I put them up on YouTube. So I want to do the same thing here and moving forward. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys next time. See ya.